Well, I suppose I better pull my kayak back out of the car. What do you mean get the kayak out of the car? How can you fit a kayak in the car? Oh, easy. One kayak in a bag. This is an inflatable kayak. That's it. That's a 10.5-foot boat. But is it any good? Let's have a look. So anyway, I was looking at my Facebook feed a few weeks ago, and up pops an advert for Oz inflatable kayaks. And they were highlighting the advanced element kayaks. And I thought, hey, these look great. Now, I've always enjoyed my kayaks. I've had quite a few, but I'm finding them increasingly more difficult as I get older to get out of the shed, get to the car, get on the car, so on and so forth. My current plastic kayak is 25 kilos, and it's not often that I get enough enthusiasm to actually get it onto the car and get it somewhere where I can use it. So I thought these might be ideal if they're any good. They are very quick. I've inflated this a couple of times now, and there's quite a few videos of them being inflated, so I won't bore you with time-lapse photos of me pumping the thing up, but it really is just a double-handed pump, and I'm probably taking 5 or 6 minutes, but I've only done it sort of a couple of times, so it really is only a few minutes and you're out on the water. It is quite easy to do. This one is the Advanced Frame Sport model, which is under 12 kilos. That's the main valve there. That inflates the main chamber that runs around the kayak. Then there's another valve here for the floor. You have pumped that up to 1 psi, and 2 little quick breaths in there for the deck lifts, and you're done. Clip the seat in. There's a couple of little plastic forms that go into the bow and the stern, and you're ready to put it on the water. And it also goes down just as fast. I often use the pump just to sort of suck the last bit of the air out of the chambers, so it can fold over nice and flat, and I've had no trouble fitting it back into the case. So it really is as easy as all the videos portray it to be, which is good. Price-wise, this is the more modestly priced versions. There are quite a few versions of the Advanced Elements kayaks. It's not cheap. It's nearly $1,000 Australian dollars, so these are no sort of pool toys. These should be, by rights, the real deal. So far, the quality has seemed really good, and I shall let you look at the video of me in the water with it and get an idea of how the boat tracks and how it looks in the water, and I'll talk about it as I go. Well, look, so far I'd have to say it is pretty much outstanding. It is super comfortable. My knees are against the bladder here, and my feet are sort of in a bit of a V where the bladder comes round at the front of the boat. So while they're not on foot braces as such, I still got a little bit of contact with the boat there. It's tracking nicely in a straight line. It's not any better or worse, I think, than any other flat water boat I've been out on the lake in. It's very light and responsive, certainly more so than heavier boats I've had. It's not particularly windy today, so I don't know whether I would get overly blown around in the wind, but from being out in a light breeze, it's fine. I haven't got any negatives. It is super light. It's the easiest kayak to stow in the car I've ever seen. Just walk out with a suitcase, chuck it in the back of the car. Done. No hauling it off the shed roof, putting the wheels on, trolling it across to the car, getting it up on the roof. None of that stuff, which is what sort of puts me off taking my normal right edge out most of the time. If I was going to say, look, I'd like one more thing on it, my spray deck here is just basically sitting there. It's only a very small cockpit coaming, so you can't there's nothing there to sort of get me purchase on. So my half spray deck is basically just sort of sitting there, but it's doing the job, keeping the odd little bit of water off me. I'm dry inside, There's no water or sounds coming from the boat, which is excellent. That's sort of what I want to hear, or not what I want to hear. So far, 2 thumbs up. Yeah, brilliant. Looks like this is going to be really worth its money. No trouble turning it round in its own length. Easy peasy. The spray deck's a really good idea for collecting all these little bits and pieces that I'm now dripping onto it. So I'm not getting any water in underneath me. As I say, it doesn't actually fit. It's just sitting there really, but hey, it does the job. I just got to be careful when I actually empty the water off it, that I don't empty it into the kayak. I just have to carefully. There it goes. That's all. This is definitely the answer for having a comfortable lightweight kayak, but nowhere to store one. This just goes into a suitcase. Possibly the one disadvantage with this whole setup is, like a tent, you can't store it wet. Otherwise you might get sort of weird smells and maybe a bit of mould or stuff happening. So it does have to be dry before you pack it away long term. But of course the advantage of it being in a suitcase, you can just walk it inside, find a space in the house, inflate it, dry it off in the warmth of the house, and then pack it away. Well, I've got to say, so far it tracks quite well. It's nice and responsive. It's got the most comfortable kayak seat I've ever sat in, because I'm sort of sitting on a lilo. It is quite stable. I would have to do something pretty stupid to tip that over. I mean, I'm leaning quite hard that way, and I don't need to worry too much about falling out of it. But at 32 inches wide, I guess, that is to be expected with a couple of big airbags on either side here. I like it. So, how does one get out of this thing without making an idiot out of himself and falling into the water? So there you have it. There are all these glowing reviews for these boats, and I can't remember seeing a negative word about any of the advanced element boats, and I don't have one either. I would literally have to give this 10 out of 10, to be quite honest. Love it. Fantastic. Floaty cam.